The story continues as Xiao Yan and his companions ascend to a higher dimension, where they encounter the legendary Tuasha ancient emperor. Within the expansive stone door, several figures stood. The true flame mantra. Xiao Yan knew that all his achievements on the continent of Doqi were inseparable from this cultivation method. Although his own efforts and determination played a part, who could deny the importance of the flame mantra, a technique that could either lead to heaven or hell with a single thought? I do. Please, master, teach me. Xiao Yan replied without hesitation. Though he didn't yet know what his master meant by the true flame mantra, in this unfamiliar new world, strength was the best guarantee of survival. Moreover, he still had to revive his ancestors, find his clansmen, and reunite with his loved ones. Strength was paramount, so Xiao Yan agreed without a second thought. Boom, boom, boom. Out of nowhere, Tuasha ancient emperor suddenly held a mysterious scroll in his hand. Xiao Yan could feel the heavenly flames within him, and even something deeper within his body, growing increasingly restless. It was as if everything was being stirred by the scroll in front of him. Master, what is this? Xiao Yan asked, trying to suppress the intense shock he felt in his heart. He knew that Tuasha ancient emperor wouldn't harm him. This is what you referred to as the true flame mantra, Tuasha ancient emperor said calmly. This was originally just an unnamed cultivation technique, but because he had perceived Xiao Yan's thoughts, he had also named it the flame mantra. The true flame mantra? Xiao Yan was utterly shocked. Back on the continent of Doqi, a fragment of Tuasha ancient emperor's soul had once said that all of his achievements were thanks to the flame mantra. And Tuasha ancient emperor had previously mentioned that even he did not know who created the flame mantra. Yet now, Tuasha ancient emperor was once again producing a scroll named the flame mantra. How could Xiao Yan not be astonished? No wonder the heavenly flames within me are so restless. No, more precisely, it's the flame mantra deep within me that's reacting. At this moment, Xiao Yan felt as if the flame mantra within him was just a fragment of a map, while the one in his master's hand seemed to be the most complete version. Are you finding it unbelievable? Tuasha ancient emperor asked with a knowing smile, as if he could see through Xiao Yan's every thought and action. The fragment of my soul that I left behind on the continent of Doqi was from when I had just advanced to Do-Di. You inherited only my flame power, not the complete cultivation method. Over the past 10,000 years, that fragment of my soul only retained the memories and knowledge I had before becoming a Do-Di. And because so much time has passed, it retained very little knowledge of anything beyond that. The version of me standing before you now is the last and most complete fragment of my soul, left behind in this world before I entered my slumber, Tuasha ancient emperor explained slowly to Xiao Yan. As Tuasha ancient emperor spoke so clearly, Xiao Yan suddenly understood. No wonder the fragment of Tuasha ancient emperor's soul in the ancient mansion had seemed hesitant when passing on the inheritance. It was due to the fragment's incomplete memory. The fragment of Tuasha ancient emperor's soul in the ancient mansion on the continent of Doqi only contained his memories from that continent. It hadn't been able to tell Xiao Yan too much because it lacked the memories of the new dimension. There was simply no way to explain things. Later, Tuasha ancient emperor broke through the dimensional barrier of the continent of Doqi and entered a new dimension, leaving all his memories behind. The Tuasha ancient emperor before Xiao Yan now was the one who had experienced life in this new world and knew many unknown secrets. Now, let's not waste any time. Come closer and carefully sense the flame mantra in my hand, Tuasha ancient emperor said with a satisfied smile, nodding approvingly at Xiao Yan. He had high hopes for this disciple, who had inherited his legacy based on the feedback from the fragment of his soul on the continent of Doqi. Staring at the phantom-like black scroll in Tuasha ancient emperor's hand, Xiao Yan licked his lips and smiled. Although I don't know what the future holds, it seems you and I are truly fated. With a radiant smile on his face, Xiao Yan reached out without hesitation and took hold of the black scroll, meeting the slightly emotional gaze of Tuasha ancient emperor as he did so. As soon as Xiao Yan's palm touched the scroll, a searing heat surged through his hand. Xiao Yan looked at Tuasha, ancient emperor, with confusion. Although he had already absorbed several heavenly flames, and such a temperature was nothing to him, he was concerned that something unexpected might happen, so he turned to his master for reassurance. Relax, the flame mantra is merely checking whether you have any heavenly flames within you. For the true flame mantra, the presence of heavenly flames is a fundamental requirement for cultivation. Tuasha, ancient emperor, explained, clearly perceiving the uncertainty in Xiao Yan's heart. A small wisp of flame from the black scroll shot swiftly into Xiao Yan's body. At first, it felt as though this flame was just moving through his body, but as time passed, Xiao Yan could sense that it was indeed inspecting him, just as his master had said. When the flame reached the stone within him that housed the heavenly flames, it suddenly quieted down. At that moment, all the secrets of Xiao Yan's body were laid bare to this tiny wisp of flame, revealing everything without reservation. Understanding the situation, Xiao Yan wasn't in a hurry. He sat down cross-legged, allowing the flame to explore his body at its leisure. After a few minutes, the flame withdrew from Xiao Yan's body, and then something extraordinary happened. The scroll in Xiao Yan's hand began to radiate a brilliant light, and an overwhelming aura surged from the scroll. An aura so majestic that it commanded Xiao Yan's reverence and seemed to overshadow the entire world. Even Tuasha, ancient emperor, and the Golden Dragon King, who had been resting with closed eyes, felt the power of this aura, causing their eyes to mist over slightly. At that moment, a stream of information flooded into Xiao Yan's mind. This technique is called the flame mantra. It is divided into 6 realms. The first is flame mantra, burn the foundation. The second is flame mantra, burn the soul. The third is flame mantra, burn the flesh. The fourth is burn the heavens. The fifth is burn the earth. The sixth is burn the god to create a world of one's own. This is a technique that I, a god, created with all my strength. It is my most proud work, and its value is beyond measure. To those who obtain this technique, riches and dangers await. A step towards heaven or a step towards hell. I hope that those destined to acquire it can use it to aid the great 1,000 worlds during the coming calamity. Remember this well? A long and ancient voice echoed slowly in Xiao Yan's mind. Xiao Yan's eyes were fixed on the void before him, his mind reeling, for the figure who had just spoken. The so-called creator of the flame mantra had a symbol on his forehead that was identical to Xiao Yan's own. It was none other than the ancestral mark of the Xiao clan. You must have felt that ancestral mark as well. All I can tell you now is that the creator of the flame mantra indeed has deep ties to your Xiao clan. However, if you wish to find your clansmen, you must become much stronger. Tuasha, ancient emperor, said, speaking to Xiao Yan, who had just finished his meditation and opened his eyes. I have to find out what's going on. Xiao Yan's mind was flooded with thoughts. Why had the Dodi bloodline of the Xiao clan suddenly declined? Where had his clan members on the continent of Doqi gone? There were many mysteries still waiting for him to uncover. Tuasha, ancient emperor, clearly knew something, but had chosen to remain silent. It was evident that the prerequisite for learning the truth was to possess immense strength. As Xiao Yan pondered deeply, he etched the complete flame mantra into his mind, vowing to unravel all these mysteries. Indeed, an end is also a new beginning. The continent of Doqi where we were is merely a lower dimension. Once one's strength is sufficient, they ascend to these higher dimensions. In my case, it was the flame mantra that allowed me to achieve what I have today. From the previous remnants of conversation, you might have already inferred something about the creator of the flame mantra. In fact, you should address him as your grandmaster. Tuasha, ancient emperor, looked at the black scroll with a nostalgic expression and silently bowed. My grandmaster must be one of the most powerful beings in the great 1,000 worlds, right? Xiao Yan deduced from the way the flame mantra was described as created by a god, and from his master's words. Given that his master had also benefited from the flame mantra, the god, who had just spoken in his mind, must be the master of Tuasha, ancient emperor, his grandmaster. Your guess is correct. Back when I was just a flame born from the world itself, I had nothing in the great 1,000 worlds. When I first arrived on the continent of Doqi, I caused a lot of trouble because I didn't understand the rules of this world. But I was fortunate enough to meet my master. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. Ahem, there's no need for you to know too much now. When the time is right, you will naturally understand. Tuasha, ancient emperor, clearly caught up in his memories, spoke more than he intended, his kind smile and misty eyes betraying his deep longing for his master. Realizing Xiao Yan had noticed, he quickly changed the subject. Now that you've obtained the complete flame mantra, I've fulfilled one of my wishes. When my master awakens next time, I will have something to report to him. Tuasha, ancient emperor, sighed deeply. But there is still one more thing I need your help with, or rather a mission. However, for you, this might be the best way to grow stronger. Tuasha, ancient emperor, suddenly looked at Xiao Yan and the Golden Dragon King with a serious expression. Your disciple will certainly follow your orders. Please instruct me, master. Xiao Yan said respectfully, clasping his hands in a formal salute to Tuasha, ancient emperor. You must collect sacred flames, and as many as possible. This is related to the bloodline of your Xiao clan and the upcoming Great War. I can't explain too much now, but little Jean here will assist you. Remember this. Until your strength reaches the Docian level, do not activate your clan mark in front of others. Tuasha, ancient emperor, emphasized gravely. Indeed, Xiao Yan could sense a hint of his bloodline in the fluctuations from the flame mantra, confirming his master's words. Secondly, I have a personal request. Do you see the Golden Dragon King before you? Tuasha, ancient emperor's voice was filled with guilt, and there was an unmistakable tone of something else in his voice. Tuasha, we're brothers. There's no need for you to feel so guilty. I made my decision back then, and I have no regrets. The Golden Dragon King responded to Tuasha, ancient emperor. Even in his soul state, the Golden Dragon King's eyes remained firmly fixed on Tuasha, ancient emperor, unwavering in their resolve. When our forces in the Great Thousand Worlds were retreating, we were pursued by the kings of the extraterritorial evil clan. If it weren't for you leading the Dragon clan to our aid, I wouldn't have survived. Golden Dragon, you bore the stigma of betraying your entire clan for my sake. I truly feel sorry for you. Let my disciple atone for my sins this time. I'm truly sorry. Tuasha, ancient emperor's eyes were filled with remorse, and there was a trace of apology in his voice. Brothers? Xiao Yan murmured to himself, realizing that there seemed to be a deep bond between his master and the Golden Dragon King. But even though Xiao Yan was curious, he knew it wasn't the right time to ask more questions, so he continued listening to Tuasha, ancient emperor's words. Golden Dragon, there's no need for us to argue. Listen to me. Both my master and I have already imprinted the reincarnation seal. We will awaken for the next great war. But right now, the most urgent matter is you. You must first rebuild your physical body, then return to the Dragon Clan to clear your name. Only by restoring your strength to its peak can you face the coming calamity. Before falling into slumber, my master predicted that the next great war might be the final one. My good brother, having you in this life is my greatest fortune. This time, let my disciple protect you. Tuasha, ancient emperor's gentle voice echoed in the Golden Dragon King's mind. The Golden Dragon King looked at Tuasha, ancient emperor, wanting to say something but ultimately remaining silent. Their brotherly bond didn't need words. It was understood between them. After comforting his old friend, Tuasha, ancient emperor, turned back to Xiao Yan. I am entrusting these two daunting tasks to you, Xiao Yan. We believe you will succeed. The day you triumph will be the day we awaken. When that time comes, we will rebuild our glory together and annihilate the extraterritorial evil clan. Tuasha, ancient emperor, looked at Xiao Yan with hopeful eyes. Consider this as a reward from me for your advancement to the Do-D level. Golden Dragon, you will reside in this ring and assist Xiao Yan from now on. A seemingly simple ring fell into Xiao Yan's hand as Tuasha, ancient emperor, spoke. This ring is called the Imperial Flame Ring. It contains a space of about 100 zhong and holds various pills, cultivation techniques, Do skills, and other knowledge I've acquired. There's also a space talisman inside, which can be used for emergency escape. If you encounter an unbeatable enemy, especially those from the extraterritorial evil clan, crush it immediately to retreat to safety. Additionally, I've left a fragment of my soul in the ring, which will reveal important missions and secrets you seek to understand. As you collect more flames or reach higher levels of power, the information will gradually become accessible to you. When your strength is sufficient, use your soul power to access it. Be sure to keep this ring safe. Tuasha, ancient emperor, emphasized to Xiao Yan. As Xiao Yan looked into the 100 zhang space within the ring, he was overwhelmed by the sight of countless pills, scrolls, materials, and other treasures neatly arranged inside. He was deeply shaken. Normally, a storage ring only had a space of a few zhang. Even those made from special materials by experts only had a space of 10 or so zhang. A ring with 100 zhang of space would be a treasure beyond imagination if it were to be auctioned on the continent. But, of course, Xiao Yan would never be foolish enough to sell it. Xiao Yan then solemnly promised, "Rest assured, master, I will protect this ring with my life." The extraterritorial evil clan? Huh? Xiao Yan mused. It seemed even his master bore deep hatred for them. The black figure from earlier must have been one of them, and its strength was truly formidable. Xiao Yan knew that with his current strength, he couldn't defeat such an enemy, but he could at least protect himself. You're still young and possess limitless potential. Both my master and I believe in you. My task is complete, and now this soul fragment must disperse. Tuasha, ancient emperor's ethereal soul gradually dissolved into countless starlight fragments, his face filled with satisfaction. "Farewell, master." Xiao Yan solemnly kowtowed 3 times to the spot where Tuasha, ancient emperor's soul had vanished. The Golden Dragon King, watching his old friend disappear, murmured to himself, "Wait for me. I will leave my mark on this world as well." After a long while, Xiao Yan was the first to recover. He clasped his hands and respectfully addressed the Golden Dragon King. "Grandmaster, what should we do now?" "Watch your mouth. I'm your master's brother, so don't call me Grandmaster. Call me Great Grandmaster." The Golden Dragon King's soul grumbled at Xiao Yan. "Great Grandmaster. Now that's more like it." The Golden Dragon King smiled and then disappeared into the Imperial flame ring on Xiao Yan's hand. As Tuasha mentioned earlier, the true flame mantra cultivation method is now imprinted in your mind. Let me explain a few things. Our dragon clan is one of the mighty powers in the great 1,000 worlds. You'll come to understand this in time. While I've never been to your lower dimension, the continent of Do-Chi, I've heard from Tuasha that you refer to extraordinary flames as heavenly flames. In the great 1,000 worlds, we have something similar, but we call them sacred flames. The Golden Dragon King explained from within the ring. "Sacred flames? I wonder how they differ from my heavenly flames." Xiao Yan asked, sensing that there might be subtle differences between the two. "You're quite sharp. Yes, there is a difference. Heavenly flames are common flames, most of which lack significant intelligence. If you can withstand their wild power, you can subdue them. But sacred flames are different. They have cultivated over time and possess intelligence no less than that of humans. In fact, the most powerful sacred flames have established their own dominions and become sovereign powers." The Golden Dragon King explained, causing Xiao Yan to feel a pang of worry. If these sacred flames were so powerful, could they still be absorbed? However, taming them is not as difficult as you might think. The Golden Dragon King said with a slight smile, clearly noticing the concern in Xiao Yan's heart. The more powerful the force, the greater the cost. It's because of heaven and earth's judgment that we even have a chance. You see, every magical beast, every demon beast, and even the flames born from the world itself have naturally long lifespans. But heaven and earth do not allow such supernatural existences to endure without limits, so a rule was established. Every 10,000 years, these beings must break through their own constraints and undergo the cleansing of divine retribution. Breaking through all 10 tribulations allows one to transcend everything. But this cleansing is a near certain death. When I was young and arrogant, I underestimated the true terror of the heavenly tribulations. It was during one of these breakthroughs that I faced what I believed to be certain death. It was only thanks to your master, who risked his life to save me, that I survived. The Golden Dragon King reminisced. "I see. But there's no need for you to blame yourself too harshly, Grandmaster. Who isn't reckless in their youth?" Xiao Yan listened to the Golden Dragon King speak from within the ring, feeling a warmth seep into his finger. He remembered how he had once boldly stormed the Yunlan sect in much the same way. There are a total of 36 sacred flames on the list. They are scattered across the Great Thousand Worlds. Most people only know of their ability to assist in refining pills, but few are aware that they are also the bane of the hated extraterritorial evil clan. Each of the 36 sacred flames corresponds to one of the 36 evil races from beyond our world. The presence of these primal flames can completely suppress the power of the extraterritorial evil clan. During the Great War 10,000 years ago, it was these sacred flames that provided us with immense aid. The top 3 sacred flames all entered into a cycle of reincarnation and slumber after the battle, while the others were severely injured and went into hiding to recover. That's all you need to know for now. When the time comes, I will explain more. The Golden Dragon King's tone grew heavy. Let's go. It's time to show you the Great Thousand Worlds. The Golden Dragon King grinned at Xiao Yan, as if speaking to Tuasha. How could I not keep my promise to you? As Xiao Yan listened to the Golden Dragon King, he could sense the immense hardships of that ancient battle, even though it was described so lightly. If that day really comes, I will do everything in my power. Without any hesitation, Xiao Yan strode out of the ancient cave. The Great Thousand Worlds, huh? Let me, Xiao Yan, see what you have in store. Xiao Yan's eyes were filled with determination as he gazed into the distance. The passage from this cave to the new continent will take a while. I suppose you don't know much about the rules of the new continent, so let me explain them to you. The Golden Dragon King's gentle voice echoed in Xiao Yan's ear. Please do, Grandmaster. Xiao Yan had been curious about this and was pleasantly surprised by the Golden Dragon King's understanding nature. The continent we are heading to is called the continent of Do Qi. Unlike the novels where various types of magic are common, on this continent, Do Qi is the sole focus. Over countless generations, the cultivation of Do Qi on this continent has reached its pinnacle. It has even spread among the common people, making Do Qi an integral part of daily life. Its importance on this continent cannot be overstated. Because of its widespread cultivation, countless methods for training in Do Qi have evolved from the main lineage. Naturally, these methods vary in strength. Xiao Yan, you once lived on the continent of Do Qi, where the techniques for cultivating Do Qi were categorized into 4 tiers: Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Yellow, with each tier further divided into 3 levels: Basic, Intermediate, and Advanced. However, on the new continent, the continent of Do Di, these levels have been expanded to include 3 additional tiers: Immortal, Sacred, and Divine, with each tier similarly divided into Basic, Intermediate, and Advanced levels. The level of the Do Qi cultivation technique you practice is crucial in determining your future achievements. For example, on the continent of Do Qi, a person practicing an intermediate Xin class technique would naturally be stronger than someone practicing an advanced Yellow class technique at the same level. On the continent of Do Di, strength is determined by 3 key factors. First and foremost is your own power. If you're only at the 1-star Do Zun level, even if you practice a rare advanced Heaven class technique, it will be difficult to defeat someone at the Do Sheng level who practices an Earth class technique. Second is the cultivation technique itself. Among equally matched opponents, if your technique is of a much higher level, you'll immediately gain an advantage in battle. The third factor is known as Do techniques. As the name suggests, these are special skills that utilize Do Qi. On the continent of Do Qi, Do techniques are also categorized into 4 tiers: Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Yellow, with each tier divided into Basic, Intermediate, and Advanced levels. On the continent of Do Di, however, Do techniques are further categorized into 3 additional tiers: Immortal, Sacred, and Divine, with each tier divided into Basic, Intermediate, Advanced, and Peak levels. The continent of Do Di is filled with countless Do techniques, but most of the widely available techniques are of the Earth class. To acquire higher-level techniques, one must either join a sect or attend one of the Do Qi academies on the continent. Of course, some people might find techniques left behind by their predecessors through fortuitous encounters, or they might have Do techniques that perfectly complement their cultivation method. These kinds of Do techniques, born from the cultivation method itself, can be even more powerful when used in tandem. By relying on these 3 factors, one can determine who is truly stronger. In short, possessing a higher-level Do Qi cultivation technique will bring undeniable benefits in the future. However, advanced Do Qi cultivation techniques are difficult for the average person to obtain. The techniques available to the common people are usually at the Earth class level, while stronger families or smaller sects might have access to Heaven class techniques. Above the Heaven class lies the Immortal class, but such advanced techniques are likely only possessed by the most powerful forces and great empires. As for the Sacred class, it has not been seen for hundreds of years. In theory, it's almost impossible for ordinary people to obtain high-level cultivation techniques. However, nothing is absolute. The continent of Do Di is vast, home to countless tribes and races. In the north, there are the barbarian tribes, known for their immense strength and ability to fuse with beast souls. To the south, there are the highly intelligent high-grade magical beast families, and further still, the notorious and sinister dark races, among others. Because of the vastness of the land, there are many unknown, nameless hermits. When these reclusive individuals approach the end of their lives, they might hide the cultivation techniques they created in some secret location, waiting for a fated person to discover them. There's a saying on the continent of Do Qi: if one day you fall off a cliff and land in a cave, don't panic. Take a few steps forward, and perhaps you will become a mighty expert. This saying isn't unfounded. In the near thousand-year history of the continent, there have been numerous stories of individuals who became powerful thanks to such fortuitous encounters. The outcome of this legend is that it has created a large group of dreamers who wait by the edges of cliffs every day, ready to leap off in search of world-shaking techniques. Of course, most of these people return with broken arms and legs. In short, the continent of Do Qi is a land full of miracles, a place where miracles are born. Additionally, you must understand that on the continent of Do Di, not everyone is a Do Di powerhouse. The continent of Do Di is much like your continent of Do Qi, where every individual must work hard to ascend to stronger realms. But since the continent of Do Di is an upper dimension, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth here is far stronger than in your lower dimension, so people here cultivate much faster. Generally, in ordinary families, people are often born at the Do Zun level, while those with exceptional talent might be born at the Do Sheng level. However, Do Dis are not as common as you might think. They are typically found within smaller family factions, royal courts, or large sections. Of course, there are also reclusive old monsters with formidable strength, but nothing is absolute. In powerful families with outstanding talent, it's not uncommon to have a Do Di as the guardian. The currency on the continent of Do Di is gold, silver, and copper. 100 copper equals 1 silver, and 100 silver equals 1 gold. The hierarchy on the continent of Do Di is as follows. From lowest to highest: Do Di, Do Xian, Do Shan. Each rank is divided into 9 stars, from 1 star to 9 star, and each star is further divided into early, mid, late, and complete stages. Beyond the 9th star is the 9 revolutions, and only after the 9 revolutions can one ascend to the next realm. There is an old saying: Do Xian and Do Shan dominate the world, reigning over all. In the Great Thousand Worlds, a 10th grade pill makes one an emperor. Among the 9 grades of emperors, the highest is Xian, and beyond that is Shan. As for alchemists, they are categorized from Emperor Class 1st grade to Emperor Class 3rd grade, with each grade divided into Heaven, Earth, and Shin levels of pills. The ranks go on: Immortal Class 4th grade, Immortal Class 5th grade, Immortal Class 6th grade, Sacred Class 7th grade, Sacred Class 8th grade, Sacred Class 9th grade, and the legendary 10th grade, which is said to be the divine pill. However, it is only a legend, as no one has ever seen one. Soul power. At the Imperial realm, soul power is divided into 4 levels: mortal, heaven, earth, and entry to the void realm. The immortal realm soul power is divided into 3 levels: entry, comprehension, and fusion. The sacred realm soul power is divided into 3 levels: step into the void, transcendence, and entry into sainthood. The divine realm, however, has no detailed divisions. Cultivation technique levels: immortal class, sacred class, divine class. Each class is divided into low, intermediate, advanced, and complete stages. Do technique levels: immortal, sacred, and divine, with each class further divided into low, intermediate, advanced, and peak levels. As for the magical beasts on the continent of Do D, their ranks are also divided into Emperor, Immortal, and Divine, with each rank further divided into 10 levels. There's a rumor that when a magical beast breaks through the 10th level of the Emperor rank, it can transform into a human and begin cultivating anew. Since magical beasts have long lifespans, they can choose this path freely. However, with each rank they advance after the Emperor rank, they will face heavenly tribulations. If they are not careful, they might suffer severe injuries or even die. Transforming into a human can help avoid this issue. There's also a legend that says a magical beast that transforms into human form can advance to become a Do Shun, but whether this is true or not is unknown. As Xiao Yan listened to the Golden Dragon King, his mind buzzed with the overwhelming amount of information. At the same time, he began to look forward to this new continent. A new beginning, huh? He muttered with a confident smile as he looked up at the sky outside the passage. The boundless sky and earth stretched before him, and in the blue sky, the occasional cries of birds and beasts could be heard. If one looked closely, they would notice a slight distortion in the space. From within it emerged a young man with a somewhat slender figure, carrying a heavy ruler on his back, standing tall in the sky. Who else could it be but Xiao Yan? This is the continent of Do Di? Indeed, the source energy here is incredibly abundant. Xiao Yan also noticed that the source energy of the continent of Do Di didn't seem all that different from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on the continent of Do Chi, so he didn't pay it much attention. Standing in the air, Xiao Yan carefully sensed the atmosphere of the continent of Do Di. He found that the spiritual energy here was several times stronger and more abundant than what he had experienced on the continent of Do Chi. It was no wonder this place was called an upper dimension. Grandmaster, where are we headed now? Xiao Yan asked, his senses still attuned to the skies of this new continent. The Golden Dragon King didn't stop him, allowing him to take in the aura of the new world. The continent of Do Di is a rather remarkable place in the human realm, divided into 4 relatively independent regions: East, South, West, and North. We should head to the northernmost region, which is the weakest among them, because I have some personal matters to attend to. Also, there happens to be a sacred flame there. It's been so many years. I wonder how it's doing, the Golden Dragon King mused nostalgically. A sacred flame? Xiao Yan's heart ignited with excitement, reminiscent of the time when he was searching for heavenly flames. Let's land first. The skies above many parts of this continent are controlled by nations, and there's a strict ban on flying. If we ignore that, we might run into trouble. The voice of the Golden Dragon King echoed from the ring. Xiao Yan, realizing this, quickly descended towards the ground. Looking at your young age, you don't seem like a swindler. If you tell us the location of the treasure pavilion, we might let you go. Otherwise, with your delicate skin and tender flesh, my brothers here won't let you off easily. Not far away, a fierce-looking man sneered at a young woman standing before him, who seemed powerless to defend herself. As he finished speaking, he cast a lecherous glance at his men, who responded with evil grins. I don't know anything about a treasure pavilion. I'm just a servant of the Mu family. How could I possibly know such things? You should be asking the people of the Mu family. The woman, clearly wronged, trembled as she spoke, her voice barely audible in the face of such threatening men. Ask the Mu family? We just came from there. The Mu family's patriarch said on his deathbed that you took the map to the treasure pavilion. What else do you have to say? The leader roared at the woman, his anger palpable. If you're going to kill me, then do it. Why bother with all these excuses? The woman, having realized that these men were simply looking for a pretext to kill her, steeled herself. She knew there was no such thing as a treasure map. Do it. Strip her clothes off first, then search her storage ring. The men behind him, eyes gleaming with lust, hungrily stared at the young woman. Her fair face, long flowing hair, and the curves beneath her dress made them salivate. These beasts are worse than animals, the young woman muttered, caressing the only piece of jewelry on her. a memento from her mother. Her eyes hardened with resolve, determined to maintain her dignity even in the face of death. Xiao Yan, wait. Head east. I sense a familiar presence, something faint yet recognizable. Hurry. The Golden Dragon King's voice rang out urgently from the ring. The presence was either that of an old enemy or an old friend. Given the weakness of the aura at the continent's edge, it was clearly the latter. This realization prompted the Golden Dragon King to shout at Xiao Yan. Just as the woman was about to take her final desperate action to protect her chastity, Xiao Yan arrived in time. Little E, sensing the malevolent intent of the group, became furious. In an instant, flames erupted, striking down the weaker ones with ease. Even Xiao Yan hadn't noticed that ever since arriving on the continent of Dodi, a mysterious rune on Little Yi's forehead had begun to glow. Gradually, Little Yi had started to display more human-like traits, even speaking and expressing emotions, although he still rarely spoke. Who are you? This girl is our target. If you're trying to play the hero, you've picked the wrong time. Brothers, attack? The leader's face darkened as he scornfully eyed Xiao Yan, who looked like he was on the brink of death. Be careful, young hero. Their leader is a 6-star Dosheng. The woman, grateful for Xiao Yan's intervention, couldn't help but warn him. She knew the strength of the men pursuing her and didn't want Xiao Yan to lose his life because of her. But to her shock, in the blink of an eye, the men who had surrounded her were dead, felled by Xiao Yan's swift attacks. The leader, now the only one left, was terrified, pleading for mercy as he looked at Xiao Yan in utter fear. Here, take this pill. If you're not afraid that I might poison you, it'll help heal your wounds. Xiao Yan casually handed a healing pill and some ointment to the girl, whose eyes still flickered with resolve. He glanced at the blood streaming down her calf and couldn't help but feel a twinge of pity, completely ignoring the man and the few remaining henchmen in front of him. The leader, though commanding a group of Doshengs who weren't particularly diligent in their cultivation, still managed to lead them through tasks here and there to make ends meet. However, when Xiao Yan appeared, something felt off. His Do Qi seemed to freeze within him, and that small, milky white figure only intensified his cold sweat. Thank you, the girl said without hesitation. She took the pill from Xiao Yan and swallowed it, then applied the ointment to her wound. Within seconds, the bleeding stopped, and she could feel a gentle warmth healing her injury. This is definitely a high-grade pill, the young woman thought, shocked. Why were so many of you chasing down a defenseless girl? Xiao Yan asked with a smile. Please spare me, young master. We're just a group of homeless wanderers, driven by desperation. We originally went to the Mu family hoping to collect some money, but when we arrived, the place was already a bloodbath. Smoke was everywhere, and they didn't even spare the servants. We were also threatened by some mysterious figures and heard that she had a map to the treasure pavilion. So? The man's voice trembled as he explained, his fear evident. Xiao Yan knew he wasn't lying. When someone is as terrified as this man, they're unlikely to fabricate stories. Thank you for saving my life. The girl, overwhelmed with gratitude, knelt down and bowed to Xiao Yan. Stand up, there's no need for so much formality. Although Xiao Yan didn't know why the Golden Dragon King had urged him to save this 1-star Dosheng girl, he trusted there was a reason. You can decide what to do with this man, Xiao Yan said, turning to the girl. Benefactor, let's spare him. They were just desperate. The girl looked down, then continued. I never knew my parents. The only clue I have is this ring. No matter what, the Mu family raised me, and although I'm weak now, I will avenge them one day. She clenched her small fists with determination. With that, the two left, sparing the remaining men. If there's something you want to say, just say it, Xiao Yan said after they walked a short distance. He knew that showing mercy to enemies could sometimes lead to one's own demise, but he noticed that the girl seemed to be struggling with something. Benefactor, I know you're a good person. Now that the Mu family is gone, I have nowhere to go. It may be a bit forward of me, but could I follow you? I can do laundry, cook, anything really. She hesitated before continuing, and I want to find out the truth behind what happened. Once that's done, I'll stay by your side forever. Her voice trembled as she spoke, her eyes filled with hope, as if Xiao Yan were her last lifeline. After all, with the Mu family gone, she had nowhere else to turn. Weakness leads to being bullied. Weakness means not being able to protect what you care about. Weakness means not being able to search for one's own parents. I must become stronger. The girl's determined gaze reminded Xiao Yan of himself in the past. She was very much like how he used to be. All right, you can come with me, Xiao Yan said reluctantly. He was already wandering the continent in search of ways to grow stronger, burdened with responsibilities and mysteries that needed unraveling. Taking this girl along might just be an unnecessary burden. Just as Xiao Yan was about to refuse, the Golden Dragon King spoke up, "Take her with you. You'll be grateful for this decision later." It's rare to encounter something so. The words trailed off into a murmur, but Xiao Yan understood enough to agree to bring her along. "Benefactor, my name is Qing Yuan. May I know your esteemed name?" The girl named Qing Yuan asked Xiao Yan excitedly. Ordinarily, Qing Yuan wouldn't trust a stranger's pill or accept their help so easily. She had heard stories at the Mu family about such deceitful people who could be more dangerous than they seemed. However, what puzzled Qing Yuan was that ever since Xiao Yan appeared, she had felt an unprecedented sense of warmth and familiarity emanating from him. It was as if a voice in her heart was telling her, "Follow this person." That's why she had taken Xiao Yan's pill without hesitation and asked him to take her in. "Qing Yuan, there's no need to call me benefactor. It was just a small gesture. My name is Xiao Yan." Trusting the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan didn't hesitate to share his name with Qing Yuan. He figured it was safe to do so on this new continent, and from the Golden Dragon King's words and his own instincts, he sensed that Qing Yuan might not be as simple as she seemed. "I can't do that. You saved my life, and I will always remember your kindness. If you don't mind, I'll call you Brother Xiao Yan from now on," Qing Yuan said, blushing slightly, and looked at Xiao Yan with caution, as if afraid he would reject her. "All right," Xiao Yan replied, somewhat reluctantly. He knew he wasn't exactly a saint, and if the Golden Dragon King hadn't intervened, this girl might have already met a grim fate. But since he had decided to help her, he wasn't going to let her feel abandoned again. "Benefactor, do you have a destination in mind? If not, we could start investigating what happened to the Mu family," Qing Yuan asked, her joy evident as she realized Xiao Yan had agreed to take her in. "Qing Yuan, do you know much about the area around here? I'm traveling alone across the continent and would like to visit the nearest city to buy some pills and maps for future use." Seeing Qing Yuan's slightly reddened eyes, Xiao Yan awkwardly asked. If they were going to investigate the Mu family's affairs, it would be essential to understand the local powers. I know. I was worried I wouldn't be able to help Brother Xiao Yan and would only be a burden," Qing Yuan said, her mood lifting as she smiled through her tears. Qingqing is located at the foot of the magical Beast Mountain range and marks the edge of the Xinling continent. As a border city near the mountains, it is one of the most prosperous areas within a 100-mile radius. At Xiao Yan's current speed, it would only take a few minutes to reach Qingqing, but Qing Yuan's ankle injury slowed them down. "Brother Xiao Yan, why are you traveling alone? You're so powerful. Are you out exploring the world?" Qing Yuan asked with lively curiosity, her demeanor reminiscent of a child asking endless questions. "Something like that. By the way, Qing Yuan, what are the major powers on the Xinling continent?" Xiao Yan asked. It was always wise to know which people or forces to avoid in a foreign land to prevent unnecessary trouble. Initially, Xiao Yan had planned to ask the Golden Dragon King about this, but as the Golden Dragon King himself had put it, he didn't bother remembering details about these small cities. Small cities. Xiao Yan felt a cold sweat break out as he thought this, prompting him to ask Qing Yuan instead. The Xinling continent is divided between the two major factions, humans and magical beasts. I'm not too familiar with the beast forces, but as for the human powers, they are broadly divided into one kingdom, 2 pavilions, 3 valleys, and 4 sections. Of course, there are other equally powerful forces that few people know about, Qing Yuan explained after pondering for a moment. On the Xinling continent, the power of the state has reached its peak. After the royal family took control of the continent, several other powerful forces emerged, but they all ultimately bowed to the royal family's might. These strong factions were, of course, dissatisfied with royal rule, But after some initial resistance, those voices gradually disappeared. It's said that the royal family is backed by a Docian. A Docian? This Xinling continent is indeed full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Xiao Yan thought to himself. The strength of the royal family here was truly formidable. Upon arriving, Xiao Yan realized that his current power was only at the early stage of a 3-star Do-Di, still far from reaching the level of a Docian. However, Xiao Yan wasn't discouraged. He understood the importance of patience and steady progress. One kingdom represents the royal family, which is said to be incredibly powerful. They used a policy of eradicating opposition to achieve unification. Then there are the 2 pavilions, the Incense Pavilion and the Myriad Flowers Pavilion. Interestingly, the Incense Pavilion has very strict requirements for accepting disciples. They only accept those with fire-attributed Do-Chi, and only men. There isn't a single woman in the pavilion, leading to an overwhelming male presence. In contrast, the Myriad Flowers Pavilion is less stringent, but stands in opposition to the Incense Pavilion. They only accept women. Rumor has it that the leaders of these 2 pavilions once had a romantic connection, but no one knows the details. In the end, they parted ways and each founded one of the 2 most powerful forces on the Xinling continent. Qing Yuan explained to Xiao Yan. Then there are the 3 valleys, Pill Valley, Nightmare Valley, and Astrology Valley. As the name suggests, Pill Valley is rich in heavenly materials and earthly treasures. It's said that the founder of Pill Valley discovered a land particularly suited to cultivating such treasures, leading to the valley's creation. Although Pill Valley's overall strength isn't very formidable, they possess powerful alchemists and a wealth of rare materials, allowing them to form many valuable connections. Nightmare Valley specializes in soul cultivation and spiritual attacks. Though their physical strength may be average, they can use soul attacks to momentarily disorient opponents, making them vulnerable to a fatal blow. Astrology Valley is the weakest of the 3, known primarily for its ability to foresee the future and utilize the power of the stars in battle or prediction. Lastly, there are the 4 sects, the Poison Sect, Sword God Sect, Ming Sect, and Solomon. The Poison Sect, as the name implies, is composed of those who cultivate poison Do-Chi or those who, for various reasons, cannot cultivate normal Do-Chi. The sect master is a powerful figure with the eroding poison body. When the sect master's poison body reached its peak, the empire sent troops to eradicate him, only for thousands of soldiers to be poisoned to death. With no other choice, the empire allowed him to establish the poison sect, providing a haven for those who practiced poison Do-Chi and were shunned by society. Because of this, the sect master's reputation within the poison sect is unparalleled. Although the sect is not well liked, it has remained stable over the years, especially with the sect master still around. The Sword God sect, as its name suggests, focuses on normal Do-Chi cultivation, but its primary emphasis is on swordsmanship. Here, strength is not measured by Do-Chi alone, but by one's understanding and mastery of the sword. What common folk call sword intent. Only those who have mastered various weapons and equipment can attain the honor of climbing to the pinnacle of swordsmanship. The Ming sect is best known for its close combat techniques. They are experts at hiding themselves and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When they reveal themselves, they can unleash powerful, explosive attacks and momentarily control their enemies, delivering a lethal blow. This is why the Ming sect is often referred to as the Hidden Assassins. Solomon is known as a place that welcomes all kinds of strange people and unusual skills, but it's also the most mysterious sect. The sect is very low-key, and there are few rumors, good or bad, about it. Qing Yuan concluded her brief introduction of the Xinling continent's power structure, her eyes filled with expectation as she looked at Xiao Yan, much like a child hoping for praise after completing a task.